Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I look at this rat race, this game that we call life, and I feel like people are rushing without knowing what it is that they're trying to achieve.
Everyone's in a rush to go nowhere.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Boom. That's it. I'm joking.
It's true though. Everyone is in a rush to go nowhere because it goes back to with expectations, and you know, when I look at some of my female friends and stuff, they're like, oh, gosh, I haven't got a baby yet, I haven't got a man, I haven't got a husband.
You're lucky.
I don't have a house, I don't have anything, yeah?
You're lucky, you know?
It's true! But, you know what I mean?
But in some ways it's true, it is true.
And then guys, I see guys that are rushing to have £1 million in their pocket, and
what about now?
Oh, that's what I'm saying, but in that process, no,
no,
it's true though.
Yeah.
What about now? In that process of rushing to where you're getting, are you enjoying the journey? And what is it that you think is going to be at the end? Okay,
so there's a quote that says it's not the destination, it's the journey that brings you happiness. Happiness is not the destination, it's the journey. Because if I'm honest, like people outside of my world will look at Jay as, oh, you know, he works for the mayor, he does this, he does that, he's so successful. But all of that shit is a bunch of bullshit, if I'm honest, in terms of like hierarchy and, you know, going to different places, Buckingham Palace, meeting this, meeting that. None of that's really important. For me, the most important thing is the journey of change, and not just on your journey, but also, because if you rush, how do you know, like for instance, like we was just speaking about money and stuff, how do you know what the blueprint is to share? So you need to understand the process and the journey of life, so you can go, oh, that's why this is beautiful. It's not about that, it's about the process of changing and learning and growing. And then you've got the blueprint because you didn't rush and you saw the detail. Like for me, now I focus on the detail, like especially like if you're having an event, what fashion is quite good on the details as well, like little things like stickers or the minute little things that make that whole process. Whereas like some people will just think, oh, I just want to, like for instance, music artists, I just want to make a song. But what do you want the message to be? How do you want people to feel? Yeah. Where do you want it to show up? All these other questions. Awareness. That is about, if you rush, you're going to miss all of those gems. So the problem is when you rush, I think a lot of rushers have a lack of awareness. 100%. When you take time, you're able to take in what's going on and also pick up the gems other people don't. So when we think about Busta and all these artists and people who are really amazing at their craft, there is a level of detail and a level of slowing down which they've done to be like to basically help to bring you into an idea or to understand the process, which that's the important thing.
So why are people rushing that? What is it?
Because they're being sold fake dreams.
They're looking outside of
they think they haven't got time.
They're looking outside
and they haven't. But it's so weird because it's like they're in a rush because they've been like, you know, people are like, oh, you know, you only live once and we've got to do all this stuff. Problem is you're wasting time anyway. So you're rushing to do nothing rather than taking time to understand what's going on around you.
And if you take into consideration the clock, it's man-made. So if you remove the clock, all you have is time. You get what I mean? It's the clock that makes you think that there's only 24 hours in a day. How about there's none?
Yeah. Do you know what? That's crazy.
That's actually good.
If you was to take away, like, have you seen that movie where there's basically their money is time.
Yeah.
So every time they pay for something, they lose.
Oh yeah.
If we did take away time, you would see how everything changes. And I only recognise this from, I remember I was it was Antigua we was in, and the bartender was taking long, and I was like, oh man, you're taking long, man. But they were saying you should never rush time. And it's weird because they slow down time, and actually I felt like I was there for like 2 months.
2 weeks.
Because you just take in the moment, you just take everything in, and you have a better time, and you understand the process. So They always say don't rush life because you don't know, like, the more you rush life, before you know it, you're an older person. You're like, shit.
I see the time goes too fast. Yeah.
But if you enjoy the process, you can say I had a good life. I understood the whole
But
process.
it is actually like, you know, it's that programming that we always speak about. Everyone's on someone else's time. You're on someone else's time, so it's like, who are you rushing for? Not yourself, because you don't need everything that they say that you need to have the best experience. You don't. And the fact that you think that you do tells me that you're not actually living for yourself. If we really take into account where it is, no one's really thinking about the best for self. It's the best for someone else. But they think and they feel like, oh, this is where I've got to be. Who said that? They'll say, I say that. Who are you?
Remove the label, strip the label.
And then
now who are you?
That's when it becomes limitless because you don't know. It's like, I've got to sit down and figure that out. And that's when you have to slow down and then re-establish who you are, and then life becomes something completely different. Do you get what I mean? And as I said, obviously for me, like, there's that struggle that I have because I know what I know, but still I have to take part. But what allows me to breathe easy is knowing that all of this is BS.
I think from a child, if I was running around doing stuff in the house, my granddad always used to use that phrase, like, what he used to go to me, are you Russian? I was like, what? I never used to get it. I was like, am I Russian? Clearly not. I'm black. that was always my response. And he was like, so where are you rushing to go? I was like, gotcha. You know, you get out and you're old and you're like, oh God, them ones. But it's true. Like, at the end of the day, it was always a question that was never answered. Where are you rushing to go? And my answer might be, I was running to go upstairs. To do what? To play. To play what? To play. But was your cousin still going to be upstairs if you walked up the stairs? Yeah. So what did running do? And then when you drop down the stairs now, it's like, aha, yeah, you was rushing, but you got nowhere, innit? In fact, you end up further behind than where you were supposed to be. And when you think, the problem is when you rush, once you trip or you stumble, you end up further behind than if you was to take your time and go forward. So at the end of the day, like, as you said, it's the destination. A lot of people don't know where their destination is. And when people are saying it's for myself or for this, I think we've all been guilty of it, like, of feeling this way at some point in our lives. Like, and really and truly, things are measured by society because of the images and the things we're told. Like, yeah, because if you've got that, oh, I haven't moved out by this age, I haven't had a baby, like you said, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. But then when you think about it, and you've got older people saying, well, if you haven't moved out, count yourself lucky, because in the times we're in.
Let me add what you just said. I remember there was that time when everyone's like, oh, you gotta move out by this time, red, blah, 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 blah. And then I found myself one of the first to get a property. You see, no one's in a property. They're still at home. And I'm like, that is it. Then. So you end up putting yourself in a space where everyone says that you should be, and find out that you're the only one who's there because they're chatting shit. You get what I mean?
Like, you've got different reasons. If you're saying, oh, I just need to move out because I'm this age, or because I'm this, or because I'm that, that's one thing. If some people have practical reasons, do you understand what I'm saying? But generally speaking, it's all the subliminals given by society, and then everybody else that soaked it up that then pushes it onto you. So whether it be, you know, like the elders, and as a female, I personally didn't really experience it like to the depths of how some of my friends have, and obviously I can't now because I have children. But when you get the whole, oh, so when you're having babies, then like, what? Allow me, like, so when I hear my friends are like, oh God, and then you've got the friends that don't have children versus the ones of us that do, and without us even saying anything to them, they feel the pressure. And I'm saying you should be feeling the pressure from us, because we're not even the ones saying to you, go out there and do this, do that. And if anything, We're the ones saying to you, "Wait, you know what? Relax.
But
It's
a lot of
cool."
people do.
Because
a lot of people do look at you differently. So like, Jay, prime example, you skate, you don't drive. People will look at you and say, "Oh, Jay,
Why
da
don't
da
you
da da da." But the reality is, Jay's doing him. Jay's always got a smile on his face.
Jay's
You
getting
lot-
from where he needs to
You
be.
lot are trying to catch up to something else. It's not like say like oh, Jay's less than because he skates. Where did you get that idea from? But that's the thing. And what's so interesting is you have people that are so in a rush to grow up and be an adult. But what do we all realize?
So the
We all
truth.
realize that we're always the
A
child
child.
that we're trying to get away from.
And that's what I find funny, because I look at like cars, for instance,
Yeah.
and like, oh, when you get a car, da da da. Why would I get that if it's a liability, if it's something that causes you stress? Don't get me wrong, for some people it's freedom. But in terms of for me, I don't feel the need for it. I'm in London, I can get anywhere.
Your reasons are just as valid as theirs.
But when you
That's
talk
right.
about the child,
Yeah.
we have to look at, so people in a rush to grow up and all
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah.
But actually, they're always the child, especially when it comes to trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, you know when you do mental health
Yeah,
illness that
yeah.
people are dealing with,
Yeah.
they're not an adult. They're still the child.
What you are trying to get away from is what you always
so you're
do.
rushing to get away from actually understanding that where did this come from, and it's normally from the
It's
childhood.
undealt with issues,
That
isn't it?
first interaction or first experience of a traumatic event came from your childhood. So you're in a rush, but you ain't even understood your childhood. You ain't even understood how you got in your childhood, how you got over those things. So